welcome to Kupa TV. I'm Jess, and today I'm so excited to introduce you to our nail artist this month, Yire Castillo, who I love. Hi Yire, how are you?
I'm doing great, and you?
Good, thanks. So you guys, I'm really excited, and I think it's pretty obvious. I've known Yire for years. He's been part of the Kupa family forever. I met him for the first time 5 years ago, and he has just exploded and gotten so much better. Yire, I'm so excited that you're here. So, okay, let's talk about your career before we get into the nail art, that you're doing today. I'm so psyched. So can you tell me, how did you get started doing nails? Were you an arty kid and then you got into it? Or did something about nail art catch your eye and you're like, yes, this is what I need to do? Or can you tell me about that?
Yeah, from the beginning, I really knew that I wanted to do something with my life involving art. And since I always had those influence of being sort of like an artist, and knowing that nails involve a lot of art, so that's what really pushed me and brought me into becoming a good nail artist. And just seeing how other educators or just the main professional people in the industry carry themselves, that really pushed me to become a nail artist.
I love that. So are you the type of artist, do you draw inspiration from things around you, or are you more into pop culture type things that you see, or where do you get your ideas for all of your art?
Well, it depends the project that I'm working for, but if it's going to be something for social media, it has to be something that is trending, something that is very, let's say, current. Mm-hmm. And if it's going to be a commission for a client or something, then I will please them if they want something pop culture or something that is to for their catering. Let's say they want their pet, something that they want, then we'll focus on that. But
so
it
you just
depends
kind of tailor it to the person or to the audience, essentially.
Pretty much.
So has there been something nail art wise that has been, you had to spend some more time to kind of perfect and to tackle? Has there been anything that's really been challenging for you?
Overall, I think that everything, in order to be happy with, it needs a lot of practice. But the thing that I've struggled the most, I would say, are pink and whites. I think getting the right consistency, the perfect products, so you have those perfect pink and whites applications that usually at competitions they want. That's the main struggle that even trending competitors have the hardest time with, I think.
See, that's crazy to me because I guess that's that's the sign of a good artist, I guess, or a nail artist especially, is that you make it look so easy. And I think, to me personally, the hardest thing for me is 3D nail art. You guys, I cannot tell you, this guy can crank out a 3D rose like nobody's business. I remember that's the first thing I saw you do was a little tiny, not a huge one, a little tiny black rose on someone, and I was like, okay.
The one bead roses,
oh
those
my
are
God,
very popular.
It's crazy, and you're so good at it. And
Oh.
but it does make sense, pink and whites, especially for competitions, because it has to be perfect. And with roses, I feel it's okay if there's one little petal that's a little bit off, but for pink and whites, it has to be
yeah, because there's
perfect.
some type of guidelines that they want exactly, and if you don't meet them, it's oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
it's not
too
perfect.
bad. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so tell me what you're doing today. I'm so excited. Let's hear about it, because you're using some of the new triptych powder.
Correct.
So I'm so excited about this.
So when Rachel was showing me the colors, I was drawn immediately to this color, which is called Pretty Lights. I'm so into this shade right now. I think it's gonna be very popular, and I'm mixing it with the nude colors just so that it's a little more bold and elegant. Mm-hmm. And I love the consistency, so I cannot wait to show you guys how I use it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, let's get started.
So the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm going to apply the infinite nail form. And what you wanna do is tear this part, because we're trying to achieve a short nail. And what I love about these forms is that are super sticky. You can hear the sound right there, how it's super sticky. And I'm going to apply, close the tabs on the end, turn it around, tear this part out, and then just come in underneath the finger. Make sure that it's very well underneath the nail. Don't push too hard because you don't want to hurt the client. And with the help of your thumbs, just plug it in underneath, close more of the bottom as you get closer to the skin. And this is how you apply a perfect fit for a almond nail. The form has to be going down slightly because it's a short almond nail, and that allows you to create a deeper C-curve. So now that we have a very well prepared form and nail plate, we can move on to applying our product. So I'm going to be using the Cover Pink and this color, which is called Pretty Lights. And I'm going to start with the Cover Pink on the cuticle area, bring it down, thin it down, and then I'm going to go onto the tip with this color, and from the tip we're gonna fade it back. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I do this. First, we're gonna pick up a, let's say, medium bead of acrylic with a very wet consistency. We're going to apply it on the cuticle area. And you want to bring it down. At this moment, I make sure that I create an even surface. So now we're gonna move on to applying the triptych color. So why do we call it triptych again, Jess?
Because triptych means, and Rachel told me this today, it's like the term for types of art that is done like in panels. So like if you see an art that's got 3 different panels, it's called triptych. So basically it's the same with our powder, because you can use it in 3 different ways. So it's like a triple thread.
Cool. From the moment I heard that, I was intrigued. I was like, what's the purpose of it?
But oh yeah, when we were in Orlando and I was making the signs, I couldn't even spell it. I was spelling it incorrectly most of the time.
That's pretty smart. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to wet the surface a little bit, pick up the neon color, apply it right on the tip, and just swipe up really quick so you can create a nice, easy fade. Now we want to give it a little bit of time so that the product gets a little bit more consistency, and then you can come in with the brush and press the acrylic. And now you just give it the shape that you want. So I'm happy with that. The rest I'm gonna do it with the file. Just to add a little more coverage, I'm going to pick up a second bead, play it right here, and continue working that nice fade that we want for this ombre effect, and work it towards the tip. The big mistake that I see a lot of people doing is that when they apply or lay down the product onto the nail plate or the form, they just go in and swipe right away, and that's the big mistake because you just bring the entire product on your brush. As you can see, my brush is clean. I was using a color that I was highly pigmented and it's still clean, so keep that in mind. So now we're going to use our clear acrylic, and we want to encase the work that we just did, the nice fade. So press while it's still very wet, and then just drag down with the tip of the brush. Very soft touch so you don't bring the product with the brush. As you can see, we have a high apex on the nail plate, on the nail, and that's what we're aiming, so it has full strength. Now we just let it dry, and we move on to filing. So while that dries, while that sets, I'm going to apply the form for the next nail. And on the second nail that we're doing, it's going to be something very popular. I don't know about you, Jess, but I think that holographic and just unicorns and anything magical, it's 2017.
All day, just
right?
everything
And I'm living for it, yes. Yeah. And I'm living for it.
Absolutely.
So let's show you guys.
Sparkle, everything.
Yep, and I'm absolutely living for it. This is like my year. So if you have a craft store near you, you can just go ahead and go buy some wrapping paper. This is holographic wrapping paper, and it works wonders. And you don't have to buy expensive paper from some companies out there. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna need you to soften. Okay, before this one dries, I wanna come in and pinch a little bit. Pinching the nail allows you to create a more narrow look. And the way that you pinch, you just have to be very careful that the product, it's not wet, it's not like soft. Because if you come in and apply when the product is soft, what happens? It breaks and you just created indentation that you didn't need right there. And it also creates like a weak spot, right?
Yeah. I've seen just disasters happen, and it's always just so sad because you work so hard and then you pinch too soon, and it's just like, okay, everything you just did is now ruined.
All right, now that that was pinched, when we can move on. Soften your finger, apply the second form, just how we did earlier. Close the tip. Now as I check right now, the form is so straight and going down, and that's because the shape of her finger, like the nail plate goes up a little bit. So I'm gonna remove it and show you guys the trick to make sure that it goes down. So at that exact place where the nail plate meets, you just wanna create a little indentation, like a little mark to know where you have to create like a few cuts. At a 45-degree angle. That will give you more room in order like for you to put the form down. So we come back in. So we want to protect the natural nail plate. Before we move on, let's not forget our preparation liquids. So now let's protect the natural nail plate. We want to use a little bit of acrylic, clear acrylic, just so that the pigmentation of the other color doesn't stain the nail plate. Just paper thin layer. We're going to apply the neon right here, right in the middle. Clean your brush, press the product, and create the shape. I'm gonna push the product up. I want to apply the holographic paper. So I pre-cut it. If it wants to pick up. Apply it, and then with my fingers, because I am wearing a glove, I'm going to press it down. And one thing that I'm always like very cautious is that when I cut this paper, like it allows me to leave some product around so that it encases very well. Okay, so now I'm gonna be more careful and continuing with the product.
I really like your tip about, you know, like creating like a perimeter around it, because you see so many people make a mistake with stickers or foils or things like that where they don't leave room for the layers on top of it to stick to the nail. And so it's just like, you know, a client will call in 2 days and be like, why is this peeling? And you're like, I don't know. It's like, that's why. You gotta leave some room.
Correct. And now that we have that, and if you're happy with it, you can move on in encasing. Better? Okay. So now we're going to pick up the clear acrylic. We're trying to like cover the entire nail with one bead. So we pick up like a good amount of acrylic. And it's still very wet, so we just want to drag it down. Just leave it there for a few seconds, and then we can come in and press the product, compress it with the brush. And because the bottom is already dry, we can remove the form. So there you go, we have the application. Now we're gonna move on to filing. We're going to, I'm so happy to show you guys this. Like, I feel privileged just because for the longest, I've been wanting a Mani Pro that has a handpiece that it's this tiny.
It's so small and it's so light. Like, I was handling it earlier and it feels hollow. Like, it doesn't even feel like there's anything in there. It's like a little toy.
Well, there is stuff in there, but it's really
so
tiny.
Yeah.
And I just love it. Like, oh my God, with this, I'll work all day.
Yeah.
Okay? I would work at a salon with this because, oh my God, this is goals. Just because it allows me to get really close to the cuticle. And of course, if you have more practice, you can do that. But that's like my go-to bit. Like, I cannot live without it. Start around the cuticle and work your way around it. So going around the cuticle, and as I work my way to the tip, just thin it down. Moving on onto a hand file. So I'm going to move on to filing this one around with the hand piece. So I like to make sure that I don't have like a super fast speed because we are working around the cuticle and we want to be super careful. And push the skin back off the finger and then just go around the cuticle as careful as possible. Just to remove any product that can be around there. Then we can bring the bit or the speed a little more faster because we're gonna work on the surface of the nail. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on the other nail. So now I'm using the 180-100 grit, and I like to use the soft side first, the one, especially if I don't have to file down too much. Right now I'm just trying to reshape the edge, and I like to look at it down straight so that, still continuing with the 180 grit, right down the middle. Once you're happy with the filing, we are going to brush and clean again with our cleanser. And this is how you clean. So the reason that I'm going to be using a gel base is because we want to adhere some raw glitter, and this gel base has a tacky layer when it dries. So go inside the lamp for 30 seconds. So we want to make sure that because the brush is completely clean, you just want to pick up a little bit of tackiness from the surface of the nail plate, and then you can come in and pick up some glitter and position it wherever you want to have like a more precise and clean application of the glitters. Just around the area where our wrapping paper didn't go. Now if you want to be really fast when doing a full nail, you just have to use your glove, which that's one of the techniques that I love the most. But right now I'm just doing half of a nail. So I have to be more clean with it. And I use my fingers just to press them down, and when I apply the top coat, there's no lumps or glitter sticking up and creating a thick surface or like a rough surface. And now we can put it inside the lamp for 30 seconds. Alright, so we're pretty much done, and as a final touch, you want to give them a really extra hydrating nail cuticle treatment, and we are using the Harmony number 3, and I love how this thing smells.
It smells so good. I always think it smells like fruit snacks or like candy.
Have you tried it?
Tried drinking it? Yeah, just one time, but you know.
Okay, so we are pretty much done. You just massage the fingers, and I forgot to mention, but the cool thing that I like about this gel top is that you don't have to wipe it. So right when it comes out of the lamp, you just apply the cuticle oil, and she's ready to go. Okay, cool. So it's shiny.
So shiny.
2017 vibes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Iridescent unicorn fairy vibes. Yuri, thank you so much. I love it. I think it's so beautiful, and you just you knocked it out. I love it, and I love that you used the new neon color.
Thank you for having me. I had an awesome time with you guys, and I hope I was able to share a few tips and tricks that you guys can continue using.
I know I learned a lot, and I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope you guys love what Yuri did. If you do, which I'm sure you will, be sure to like and comment, write little things below. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can see when Yuri's gonna be back and do super fun things again. Hey, why don't you plug yourself on social media so everyone can follow you?
Anywhere you can find me at Yire Castillo.
Awesome. I love it. And then they'll put it on the
Well, not everywhere,
too.
but
pretty much everywhere.
Most everywhere.
Pretty much everywhere. If you feel like following me, I'm OMG_Jess on Instagram. Be sure to follow Kupa. We're Kupa_TV on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook, subscribe to YouTube, follow Yuri, see when he's going to be back. It's going to be great. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Yuri, for being here.
Well, thank you again for having me.
Cool. See you later. Bye.